these heads on, we got to get our lifters in. Now these lifters have been soaking in oil overnight. These are flat tap lifters. Notice how the bottom is flat. What we're gonna do is just slide it right in its bore. So this is kind of a funky design on Ford's part, because if you put those heads on and you're like, oh, forgot my lifters, you will not be able to put them in. They do not clear the heads. Okay, now that we got our lifters in, we can go ahead, clean the surface, and install these heads. You always want to make sure your mating surfaces are extremely clean, no oil, no dirt, obviously. You don't want the oil because it won't seal. Now, it's extremely crucial you pay attention to which way your gasket goes. They're normally marked, like this one says, front up. So that would be front of the motor and facing up. And if you notice, the water ports are smaller in the front than the back. They do that so you get the circulation through the motor, or through the head, because water takes the path of least resistance. So if they choke it up front, it's gonna force the water to go through the back, you know, and then come up through the head and then do its cycle, and it's still gonna get water up front. Yeah. Get it on its dowels. Come on. You know you want it. There it is. When we put these bolts in, we have to torque it in a certain pattern and a certain sequence. So you always want to oil your threads when you torque, and you also want to oil the shoulder too, so you get a nice proper torque. I will say this is not as fun by myself. I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it is definitely more enjoyable having Carrie out here with me. Okay, now that we got our head on, our bolts are lubed, they're ready to go. Like I said, there's a sequence, so let's go over to the table. Cylinder head bolts. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Step 1 is 22 foot-pounds, then 51 to 55, and then turn it an additional 90. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a ratchet, we're just gonna run them in until they touch. We're gonna go in order. There's a sequence of this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, yada, yada, yada. It is super important to go in its pattern, because you're basically tightening from the middle out. If this was like a big diesel that has a lot more head bolts, patterns all over the place, it's easy to get lost. You normally want to mark them, but 8 bolts, I don't think we're going to get too lost, I think. So we're going to start with 1. Yeah, we're already at 22. I figured as much. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what I did is, just to make it a little bit easier, I just marked, you know, numbers, so I don't have to, memorize it or keep looking. Just made it a little easier. We're gonna go to 51 to 55, so we're gonna split it at 53. Start at 1, work your way around. 1, 2, 3. Lucky number 4. Got to come at a funky angle on this one. 5. 6. 7 and 8. Oh man, I just made that. Didn't even think of that. So, interesting thing about these heads is these are machined heads. They've been surfaced, new valves, new seats. My dad actually found them in a Ford Ranger at Pick and Pull. You never know what you're gonna find. They want another 90. Where are we? Where's a good starting point? So we're here. 180 would be here, 90 would be here. So, let's go. One. So what we're doing when we take it another 90, we're basically stretching the bolt. And that's why they tell you, you only use head bolts once. Some people say you can use them up to 3 times. They do have a gauge that you can check to see if there's if they've been stretched past spec. So there is that. The choice is up to you. All right, well, that's gonna do it. The heads are on. So let's move on to the next part. Okay, now that we got our heads on, our intakes are sitting here. I haven't put that on yet. We'll get to that though. We're gonna tackle this timing cover. I already punched in the seal. For these kind of gaskets, you could use like 3M weather strip gasket sealing adhesive. You put it on, you know, this side, stick your gasket on it, you know, line it up. It gets real tacky. And then it's super simple to put on, but I don't have any of that, so we're gonna fight it. So we're gonna start with you up here. Get you in a couple threads. Come on over to this guy. We are just gonna make these touch. We'll come from the middle out. So we'll start here. Let's move on to the next step, which, let's get this water pump on. This surface, it looks like it's not clean, right? You know, I mean, it is as smooth as Carrie would say, juice. Smooth as juice. But this is cast aluminum. Cast aluminum is porous, so that's why you see this. I mean, you could sit there with like a 3M wheel and, you know, sand it down basically, but I personally don't like to do that. I don't want to take any material off. It will seal, it'll be fine. So let's just go ahead and get it on. You know, I want to hear, if anyone out there is watching, I want to hear your opinion on putting aviation glue on paper gaskets. Let me know what you think. Do they seal better? Do they not seal better? Here's another debate. Would you torque these or would you go off of feel? Let me know. 1, 2. Water pump is on. I had to bust out my inch-pounds torque wrench based on my last statements on tightening the water pump, because I don't want to get the smoke from you guys. I know you want to give it to me, but here we go. The book says it should be anywhere from 84 to 108 foot-pounds for these bolts. So I'm at 100 inch-pounds. We're just gonna go around. We're gonna check these. Now the thing is are they over tight, or are they pretty close, or are they loose? We're gonna find out. So first one, click. See, and look, if I just barely pull, you know, I can tighten it. So I'm not too far. I might be just a hair tighter, which I'd rather be a hair tighter than a hair looser. I think I'm pretty close. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know how you guys do it. Have you done enough of them to where you can just, you know, you can feel it? You know it's not gonna leak? So I'm pretty straight.
Yeah, you're pretty damn straight. Okay, come back out. The reason we're putting grease instead of oil is we don't want the chips to go everywhere since the heads have already been installed. This way it doesn't let it fly out, and then we'll clean it lightly and then put our new the helicoil in. But that's the reason we're using grease. When you're tapping with a T-handle or tap, you don't want to push only on one. You want to pull the same amount of pressure on both handles. And you got to watch to make sure it stays straight.
Yep. And the whole reason we're doing this is because as I was torquing...
They were a weak thread.
Yeah, as I was torquing, I'll show it. It pulled the threads. Huh. Snap that bolt. Wow. That was less than what they wanted too. So this is how you fix threads.
Instead of all the metal shavings coming out of the hole are in each of the flute. Instead of us trying to keep that out of the engine, you can see the grease is holding it on the tap.
Yep. So helicoils come with an installer, and here's the actual coil. Now, I was taught and told by a very good mechanic to put red Loctite on the helicoil and then put it in. And then I've been taught and told not to. So, what do you guys do at home? Let us know. We got done adjusting the valves. It was funky how they did it. You know, you basically were just following the compression stroke. Or compression.
The firing order.
Yeah, the firing order. We're here now. Now it's time to prime the motor, and my dad is going to show us how to do that.
Okay, what we did is I had an old distributor for this engine. I took the gear off of it that runs on the cam that drives the oil pump. And the reason that you got to use the housing is there's an oil passage that this goes in and it blocks. Or if you try to just put the shaft in there and drive it, it'll pump out and you won't pump up oil to the top end of the motor.
Right.
So now this just goes right in, just like, you know, put the distributor in the engine to stay, pick up the oil pump, drive, and now we're ready to drive the pump. And right now we're filling an empty oil filter.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Just picked it up.
It just picked up.
Now we should start seeing oil coming out right there.
There it is. It's coming out of the rockers.
Okay. And then we
See
got
it coming up the lifters too.
We got oil coming out this side. Now we're gonna get the intake on it, get the valve covers on it, get the fuel rail. We're gonna paint it, and it's going back in the truck. Things have transpired. Carrie's here, and the motor's done. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint it. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. The motor is blue. It is time to go in, but that's going to be next week. So be sure to come back.
And if you like the video, please like, comment, and we would really appreciate if you would subscribe.
Yes, a comment would be cool too. I want to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
You know, I've been waiting for it. Alright, thank you.